Hello, I'm Leonard Nimoy. In 1959, three of rock and roll's youngest and brightest stars died in a plane crash. Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper. In lighter news, the first synthetic diamonds were sold, and the newly created pantyhose became the undergarment of choice for many women. Also in 1959, the birth control pill was put on the market for the first time. In sports, the not yet great Magic Johnson was born. By the way, a candy bar or soft drink cost a nickel back then. And with that, let's move into the 1959 episode of Our 20th Century.
It was a momentous year for the New World, beginning with the rise to power of Fidel Castro in Cuba. Castro and his bearded troops were joyously acclaimed following his incredible victory over Batista. But through the months that followed, the leftist course of his social reforms roused new opposition. Discontent spread through the Caribbean, and Castro lashed out at critics with courts-martial at home and furious denunciation of United States policies. At year's end, Cuba remained a scene of unrest.
Cubana sabe también pelear y ganar batallas en este campo.
In Havana's Sports Palace, the Castro regime's controversial showcase trials get underway before a turbulent throng of 18,000. Batista aide Major Sosa Blanco, charged with 200 murders, faces a military tribunal. 3 judges still wearing the revolutionaries' jungle battle dress. Says Blanco of the crowd, "I am in a Roman Colosseum." Hundreds of correspondents report the charges as the major is faced by his accusers. Much of the evidence is hearsay, but much more is direct and telling. 45 witnesses come forward to tell of acts of brutality and murder. Men, women, and children testified. "I was only following my orders," says Blanco. Emotions climb in the 9-hour trial as the testimony piles up. This woman charges Blanco murdered her husband. The decision is death. Later comes word the trials will continue, but not in the sports arena.
Laos, the strategic key to Southeast Asia's richest areas, was attacked by guerrilla forces from Communist Vietnam, a Chinese puppet state. Through the year, Communist China's growing mobilization and aggressiveness caused mounting concern. This was the background of President Eisenhower's historic 11-nation tour, from which he returned at year's end to a tremendous ovation in the nation's capital. Following Alaska, a jubilant Hawaii became the 50th state of the Union. The islands made their mark on the news, electing the first senator of Oriental descent, and closing out their first year as a state with a blazing volcanic display. In the Senate hearing room, the dramatic climax of the probe of fixed and rigged quiz shows. Charles Van Doren's wife and father, poet Mark Van Doren, are in the audience as committee chairman Senator Orrin Harris opens the hearing. Charles Van Doren arrives to apologize and attempt to explain to the millions whose friendship and respect he had won. In his quiz show appearances, he also won $129,000 and earned a handsome broadcasting contract. Van Doren retracts his earlier denials of getting any assistance. He admits that he received dramatic coaching and the questions and many of the answers. But his statement is a rueful and moving realization that for his wealth and fame, he paid a bitterly high price.
Hollywood's biggest night of the year, the Academy Award ceremonies at the Pantages Theater. Returning to Hollywood after 10 years' absence, Ingrid Bergman attracts an extra measure of attention among the dazzling roster of luminaries on hand. Janet Leigh and Tony Curtis are others of the hundreds of stars and celebrities present for Hollywood's own accolade to its finest. The Academy's choice as Best Actress of the Year is announced by James Cagney.
Lucky lovely. Susan Hayward. And I want to live.
4 times nominated, at last a winner.
David Niven.
The Best Actor of the Year, named by Irene Dunn.
Before 10,000 at Indianapolis, heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson slashes away at his fourth challenger, Britain's Brian London. In the ninth round, a thunderous barrage of body blows to bring down London's guard and crack open the dogged defense of the 10-1 underdog. London goes down on one knee after a smashing right high on the cheek late in the 10th round. But the bell at the count of 5 saves the challenger. '11th round. This is Patterson's first title defense in months. Afterwards, he said he was rusty, only 55% of himself. But the champ's reflexes are clicking now, and he solves London's defense. London is under blistering fire, and a smashing hook drives him across the ring for the KO. Referee Frank Sikora counts him out, outboxed and outgunned all the way, but a stubborn contender to the end. At ringside was Sweden's Ingemar Johansson, who will meet Patterson in June. Then the champion expects to be 100% at par, thanks in part to this solid workout against London. Coming up, what may be Patterson's toughest fight since his title bout with Archie Moore. The World Series comes to Comiskey Park, home of the Chicago White Sox, for the first time in 40 years. And a cheering crowd of over 48,000 is on hand for the opening of the 1959 Baseball Classic. The loyal Chi Sox partisans have waited a long time for this one. In the pregame spotlight, rival managers Walt Alston, Los Angeles Dodgers, and Al Lopez of the incredible Pale Hole. At the outset, the Sox throw away the script. Instead of their so-called powder puff attack, they're blasting away from the start. In the first inning, L.A. pitcher Roger Craig is tagged for a sizzling single by Big Ted Kluszewski, driving in the first run. The mighty Klu at bat in the third, one man on. Norm Locker makes a desperate leap, but it's into the stands. A home run. A sensational third inning as Chicago's so-called hitless wonders roll up 7 runs, and the Dodgers help matters along with a record-tying 3 errors. Veteran Early Wynn pitched brilliantly for the Sox, holding Los Angeles scoreless. But the hero of the day was muscular Ted Kluszewski. A National League cast-off, his thundering bat delivered again and again for Chicago. This is his second homer of the day, a towering 400-foot drive into the upper deck, bringing his RBI total to 5 runs to tie a series record. Final score, 11-0. A jolting setback for the Dodgers, a sensational victory for the Sox. Spacemen of tomorrow, 7 astronauts of Project Mercury experience the eerie sensation of total weightlessness in special training flights. A preview of man's first space voyage.
Chicago's 51st Annual Automobile Show showcases a glittering array of vehicular innovation. Everything you'll see on the highway in the months ahead, with a few touches right out of Cloudville. Wheelless models literally cushioned on air and propelled at sensational speeds by the same triple jet that holds them off the ground.